So many service providers are focused on the wrong thing when it comes to selling their offers. They're worried about following size when they should be focused on positioning. So let's fix that. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can position your offers for sales, whether you've got 100 followers or 100,000 followers. Hey friends, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I am Brianca Kirkman. I am a marketing operations and automation strategist, and I specialize in helping executives, entrepreneurs, and CEOs build, launch, and grow sustainable marketing systems through simple online marketing strategies and advanced automations. Subscribe to my channel for bi-weekly videos featuring launch, marketing, and entrepreneurship strategies. Now, let's get into it. I am so excited to be talking about offers in today's video. If you haven't already, check out the How to Develop a Service That Sells video for more information on creating your offer. I will link to it in the comments. I've helped dozens of clients create profitable and sustainable offers using the same strategies that I'm going to cover with you here today. And I know from this experience that it really is not about how big or how small your audience is, but it really is about the value of your offer and how you are positioning that offer for your clients. So some of the things that I want to talk about when it comes to positioning your offer is really getting into the psychology of your ideal client and what it is that they are going through. You want to be able to position your offer as the solution to their struggles or to their pain points, and as the bridge to help them get to where they truly desire to be. So what that total transformation will look like for them. As you're thinking through this, right, you want to understand where are they right now. And I talk a lot about this in the previous video when we talk about market research, but this basically helps you to understand why they are looking for a solution to their problem and what their motivation might be, right? Sometimes we have a problem, but we're not necessarily motivated to fix it in that moment because it's not urgent enough for whatever reason. But if you're able to really tap on, how these pain points are building or causing undue stress, or really just an inconvenience in their life or in their business, and you're able to say by like, hey, working with me will help you to overcome this in XYZ ways, then that will help you to position yourself as valuable to them, right? So when we think about like, oh, I need to have a large audience, it's not necessarily about that. It's about the value. How will this offer either help them save time or make more money or have deeper relationships with their loved ones or experience more joy and peace in their lives, reclaim their time freedom, etc. You need to be able to communicate how your offer will help them in a tangible way achieve those different kinds of successes. So when we think about that and you're presenting their pain points, you want to be clear and you want to be able to communicate back to them what they're struggling with and what's happening in their life or business as a result of these struggles. So as an example, when I'm talking to my clients and I'm talking about the Clarity to Coins membership, I'm very frank with them. Like the purpose of the membership is to help them start, launch, and grow, their business. So whether it's like you want to make your first 5 figures, or you want to launch a 5-figure offer, or you want to grow to consistent 5-figure months, some of the pain points at that point that they are experiencing is like inconsistent sales. And as a result of inconsistent sales, they're not able to properly plan their budget, either for their business, like what investments they want to make, or the team that they want to hire, or even how they're going to leverage the income that their business brings into their household to achieve their family or their lifestyle goals, right? Like a lot of my clients, they want to make more money so they can quit their job, or they want to make more money so they can pay off debt or buy a house or things like that. But if you're unable to consistently understand how much money you're going to make, then that is creating a pain point for you that is very real. And here are the ways that the membership can help you. So being able to not just know that they want to make more money, yeah, they want to make more money, but why do they want to make more money? What is that real motivation? That is going to be how you're going to connect or bridge the value of your offer to that. Then you want to understand, you want to be able to communicate the total transformation that they're going to have, right? So they have desires, whether it's more money, more time freedom, more clients, deeper, more meaningful relationships. Maybe if you're a therapist, they want to have less anger, etc. Like whatever that deep desire is, they have that. But as a result of achieving these desires, what will happen in their life? So if we are to think about like time freedom, right? Now you have time freedom because you were able to solve XYZ problem in your life or in your business. And as a result of having time freedom, you're able to show up and be more present in the lives of your loved ones. You're able to go on vacations, with your friends and reconnect with people that maybe you haven't talked to in the last year or so because you've been so burnt out and so head down in your business, right? Like you're able to craft a more compelling story and really speak to them in a deeper way because you truly understand them. You have an intimate understanding of what it is that they're going through and what they really desire. So that's why that is so important. Positioning your offer as the bridge between where they are now and where they want to be. So you're here right now. These are the things that you're struggling with. If you want to overcome these struggles, some of the things that you need to know or that you need to understand or that you need to implement or execute in your life or in your business are A, B, C, D, E, F, G things, right? Once you do that, you will be over here where you will have the more life, the more time freedom, the more money, etc. And these things that you need to do or implement or execute are the exact same things that I'm going to teach you or that I'm going to show you in whatever this service is. So you're using your offer to highlight how they can get from point A to point B, kind of like a roadmap, right? And a lot of times, like, people don't want to share the roadmap of their business or of their offer or their curriculum because they're afraid that it's going to be stolen. But that doesn't really make sense because our buyers now are more educated. They need more information to understand that the investment will be worthwhile, which means that you need to position yourself and your offer as an authority. And in order to do that, you need to be able to communicate what that process will look like, what those steps will look like, what they can expect, etc. Right? So I want you to think about that, and I want you to share with me in the comments, what's the total transformation of your offer, right? So as a result of working with you, what is the end goal or the end stage that your clients will be at? And how does it connect to the desires that they have? What is that? I want you to share with me in the comments. So once we've talked about their pain points and we've talked about their total transformation, we want to combat their objections. So at the end of the day, there is something that is stopping your ideal client from working with you. It could be time, right? Do they have enough time? Or how will this take away from their other obligations? It could be money. They could be worried about the cost of the investment. It could be trust, right? Like they don't know you enough to know that you will deliver on the promise or the transformation that you have communicated. It could be worry. Maybe they're fearful or they're worried about, whatever the transformation is. Sometimes like you see clients and they know exactly what they want, but they're afraid of what will happen when they really get it. So they're worried about if it's possible for them or if this is like just a dream or a fallacy, right? So you need to be able to speak to and combat those objections. Like you need to be able to tell them like, hey, these are some of the things that might be preventing you from working with me. But like, here's the truth of the thing. So as an example, right? If someone is like, hey, Brianca, like I'm really interested in joining Clarity to Coins, but I've been a part of other memberships before and this has been my experience. I always validate their experience because what they experience is real and it is true. However, the difference that I can speak to about Clarity to Coins is back to our mission, back to our vision, back to our values and what I believe in, right? I'm able to show them like, hey, here are some of the things that we've set up inside of this membership to make sure that you are seen and you are served and you're safe, right? Here are some of the things that we've set up to make sure that you're not overwhelmed and that you have a plan of action once you come into the membership. Because one of the big objections about coming into memberships is that there's so much content, it's overwhelming. You don't know where to start. you feel like you need more of a step-by-step plan. Well, here's that step-by-step plan. This is what you're going to get when you get into this membership. And so being able to combat those objections in that way allows me to convert more of my clients and to connect with them, number one, about what their objection is, but also to know that when they enroll, they are someone that I need to keep my eye on or check in on, etc. So you need to be able to think about the objections that your clients may be having. And if you don't know what those objections are, you should ask, right? Like in your clarity to call, in your discovery calls or on your applications, ask them, like, is there something that is preventing you from pulling the trigger? And if so, what is it? Let's talk about it, right? You want to be able to speak to those fears and objections while positioning your service as a solution, right? So you don't want to just say, if they're saying oh, I don't have enough money, whatever. You don't want to be like, oh, I totally understand that, right? If they're saying that they don't have enough money, but you know that your service will help them increase their revenue or, increase their capacity to take on more clients or make more money, etc., then you want to be able to connect A to B, right? But you want to do it in a way that is of integrity. So don't be a liar, don't be a finesser, tell the truth about what they can expect and what their experience will be. And then lastly, you want to highlight past testimonials and wins, right? So you want to showcase someone who has been in their shoes and how your service helped them to achieve the desired transformation. One of the ways that I love to do this is to leverage case studies. Basically, what that looks like in my business is once my clients have completed a service, we hop on a quick 30-minute call. I ask them all the same questions, and ultimately those answers translate into what was the problem that they were having before working with me. What was the strategy that I gave to them, right? So what plan of action did I encourage them to implement? As a result of that strategy, what were the results that they achieved? And then what did they say about their experience? I take those same answers. I have a template on my website. I turn it into a case study, and then I move on, right? But that allows me to continuously market my services, continuously market my offers, because I'm continuously capturing that information, and it's helping me to position that offer continuously, right? I don't have 100,000 followers, but I've been able to build a business that has generated close to $500,000 in the last 4 years. But the reason that I've been able to do that is because I have a process for positioning my offers. I have a process for capturing and sharing testimonials. I have a process for connecting with my clients. And ultimately, when we're thinking about what does it look like to sell my service if I have a smaller audience, it really is about having that deep and that meaningful connection while being able to speak to where they are, what they want, what they desire, and using your service as the bridge for that, right? So even if you're thinking about it and you're not at the point yet where you're ready to do a case study, I want you to consider asking your questions hey, I want you to consider asking your clients hey, before working with me, what were you struggling with? What were some of the challenges that you were facing in your life or business? And then after working with me, were some of those challenges eradicated? And if so, in what ways and how? Where are you now that you can speak to, that you can map as a direct connection to the results that I have, to the direct strategies that I have shared with you, right? So it's always better to use their words when you can versus speaking for the client, because their words are going to really give you language that you can continuously use in your marketing and that you can continuously use in your messaging. Now, one other thing that I want to say is that when you're thinking about how you're going to position your offer, right? Your clients have narratives that should be very closely mapped over the ideal client avatar that you have created. Those stories, those narratives are angles that you can use. So as an example, when you're compiling the information from your market research, you're going to see trends. And you may see one trend of a pain point as, I don't have enough time. You might see another trend that says, I'm worried about if this will work for me, right? So if you can see those two trends, then you can speak to those independently. So you can create content for the person who is on the fence about working with you because they're unsure if it will work for them, right? What does that narrative, what does that content, what does that messaging need to look like to speak to that person? That's an angle. You can also do the same for the person who's like, I don't have enough time. What does that content need to look like? What does that messaging need to look like to speak to that angle of the narrative or to that persona, that storyline of your ideal client avatar? So being able to pull out those narratives, being able to pull out those storylines and those angles will also help you with positioning, because positioning is not just about messaging, right? It's not just about the words, but it's about how you tailor the message to the pain point or to the struggle or to the direct transformation that your ideal client is looking for. So as you're thinking about this, right, I want you to take the steps and the information in this video, and I want you to start thinking about how you can position your offers. What are some of those storylines? What are some of those angles, objections, testimonials, and things that you can use to create a bridge of connection between your offer and your ideal client? And you can do this whether your audience is small, medium, large, etc., right? You just want to remember that you've got to position it according to what the struggle is that they are experiencing, or what the transformation is that they desire, or even like what their primary motivation is at this point. Okay, if you want to learn how you can position your offers to sell, develop a service that sells, I want you to consider joining Clarity to Coins. It is the premier membership designed to guide women entrepreneurs through every stage of launching and growing a service-based business using sustainable digital marketing strategies and advanced automations. If you like this content, show your love by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. I love to connect with you on Instagram, so screenshot this video and tag me in your stories. But before you go, don't forget to pop on over into the comments and let me know what the total transformation of your offer is. I can't wait to talk to you in 2 weeks. I will see you next time. Bye.